Way back in 1717, in Ipswich, Massachusetts, there was a pastor named John Wise. Now, you might not be familiar with the Reverend John Wise, but chances are you may have heard in a roundabout way something that he once wrote. The end or purpose of all good government is to cultivate humanity and promote the happiness of all, and the good of every man and all of his rights, his life, liberty, estate, honor, etc., without injury or abuse done to any. Here is a pastor, a Christian minister of the gospel, penning some of the very ideas that would eventually become an essential part of our Declaration of Independence, namely the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness part. Why on earth would the pastor of a church write anything about the purpose of good government? Here, Wise is contrasting civil government with something that he later calls Christ's government, something that we could very well call the kingdom of God. Jesus begins his ministry with the announcement that the time is fulfilled, the kingdom of God has come near. This kingdom or empire or royal rule of God is at hand. It is imminently imminent. It is here. In the Gospels, Jesus chooses again and again to make it self-evident that the kingdom of God is here. And we see what God's kingdom is like whenever Jesus feeds the multitudes and touches lepers or calls Gentiles into the communion of God's people or sits with tax collectors and sinners or heals on the Sabbath day. Jesus is working for a world in the here and now that doesn't just resemble the kingdom of God, but a world that is transfigured into the kingdom of God. How might we contrast the actions of God's kingdom in the world with how human-made institutions like nations and governments, even churches, might work? This is the public question that John Wise and the other pastors of the colonial era were trying to get at. Not that they could live in some kind of theocracy or even a so-called Christian nation, but that the nation they were seeking to build might be congruent with the kingdom of God, instead of at cross purposes with it. In the foundational documents of the Presbyterian Church, it is Jesus Christ, Christ alone, that gives the church its faith and life, its unity and mission and order and discipline. Jesus is our hope and our sure foundation, not any other entity or person or institution. God's kingdom, and not our own, is foundational to everything else.